All right, Shaking Hands with Strangers, episode 8, Pave Paradise. And thank you to Jason Gay. I'm just going to thank him again for that intro song. I really appreciate him letting us use that. I have with me Swanny.
Hey, what's up?
How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. How are you doing today?
You had a little time away. That was good.
Yes, I did have some time away. It was definitely needed. Had some time up on the North Shore there.
Up there in Minnesota.
Up there.
Awesome.
It was great.
It's good to get away. I got up north too this last weekend to see my mom, so that was good. We named the episode Pave Paradise. We have some ideas about parking lots. I know Baldini has previously mentioned that we've all kind of shown up in the same parking lot somehow, and I agree with that, even though there seems to be some clusters building. We are all in the same parking lot, I believe, and we had some other ideas too about just paving, running up to the nature, the trees and whatnot.
Yeah, just kind of how we really have taken, well, you know, those of us who have like kind of a conscience, I feel like we've taken a back seat and haven't really been as we haven't even had the chance, honestly, to check the people who are doing the paving. And one of the things I wanted to share with you today, there is a park that's local to us, and it's it used to be very natural.
Mm-hmm.
And so my husband and I, we used to love to go there because there was a bunch of wild raspberries and I think black raspberries. And the park was just really like, it was super natural. It's one of the most natural trails that I had been on, you know, kind of anywhere.
Was this up north or around?
No, that's just like literally like near us. So, you know, for those of you who don't know, Jenny and I, we're literally neighbors. We're the unexpected neighbors. We are the actual community within the community. We're the tiny ring inside the big ring. But so we had the fortunate privilege of meeting each other and finding out that we are extremely close to each other in proximity. And so anyways, this park that I'm telling you about is actually local to us.
And in wavelength as well. That's the best part.
Yes.
That's pretty much the key.
Yeah. So this park was crazy. And I'm not going to name I'm not going to mention the name of it. However, you've probably been there, I would think. So it used to be really natural, and there were berries everywhere. So that was like part of our tradition, is we'd go and pick them. And so this one year, and we'd go hike there from time to time. It's a short little trail, so it wasn't like if we were trying to get an exercise, then it wasn't ideal.
Is the parking lot a church or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
Oh dear.
So do you remember what happened? They literally bushwhacked.
They took down the bench.
Yeah.
That was dedicated to somebody.
Oh crap!
Is this
I didn't
the one
even
we're
know
talking
that. I didn't know that there was a bench involved, but I'm not surprised because they bushwhacked this entire thing. They literally cut down, several hundred square feet.
I haven't been there, so I'm not sure if this is the same one.
I mean the church is right across the way, so there's like.
Okay, it might be different.
I'm not sure.
Across the road? The church is across the road, or the parking lot of the church is the entrance to the park?
No, that's a different one.
Okay.
That's a different park. I have been to that park. I've only recently been to that one, so I don't know if there's been any changes. So the one I'm talking about is...
that was intense for the non-local person, sorry.
No, yeah, I know. That's okay. Well, I think it's good to establish the fact that apparently there's more than one park that you and I have experienced this bushwhacking and complete destruction of what was once natural and then is like reformed into something else that's natural. And they literally like completely demolished the entire midsection of this park. There used to be natural trails that were cut through. I mean, I think about the habitat that they destroyed for countless animals, and you know, and it's just insane to me. So that's one of the first things I experienced on like a personal like level that made me. I was so upset. Like my husband and I, we couldn't go back there for the longest time because we were just so upset that they did this. Like there was no purpose to, you know, they went from like maybe a foot wide path. It was just enough for a person to get through.
Yeah.
And then they cut, 6 feet, and then they also leveled everything through the center of this place, and it was just, and then they like reseeded it with natural pollinators. It's like they were already in there, along with plenty of other habitat that you completely wrecked. I mean, there's, like I said, there was berries there, and so, that was other animals' food, plus, like I said, my husband and I used to go pick berries there, and I'm sure plenty of other people did too, and it was a plentiful source. Like, it was all along the path, and then this huge section in the middle, part of the section they destroyed, and it's just... It was literally, like, I didn't know that I could be that connected to nature that, like, wasn't my own yard. But I was devastated when it happened. And, I like I said, I couldn't go back for the longest time.
Well, why go back?
I was so pissed.
If the thing that you went there for is gone, then why go back, But, yeah, it's...
We've been back a few times. It's softened. But it's, the evidence is still there. And, of course, the heart scar is like still, every time I go back I'm like, oh, I just like, I keep praying that there's like gonna, like one of these days we're gonna go back and I'm gonna see the berry bushes again, because there was a couple that survived and like they're reseeding. Like, come on, berry bushes. Like, it's just, I don't know if it'll ever happen. And that's not even pavement, that's just wood chips. But that was enough for me to,
So when I thought about taking a picture for this, I wanted to take a nighttime picture, right? I was thinking it's a dark parking lot because it's kind of like dark, Yeah,
it starts thinking about it, everything getting paved over.
Well, this whole journey's been dark, right?
True.
And so, but I started to think about it, and I was like, I don't know that I like that idea either. And this morning I had this grand inspiration to go take morning shots of this parking lot. And it was, you asked me what it was. And it's actually, now it's like a Hobby Lobby and a liquor store. And there's various things. And I thought I could answer with a couple of different answers.
Yeah.
But I was like, you've been here long enough. I'm like, it's where the old Toys R Us was, right?
Yeah.
And you said... What did you text back?
Toys were us.
And I was like, oh, God, that's so true. Oh, man.
And just so everybody knows, I only tell bad jokes.
It was a great joke. I like that joke.
It might be a great joke from the point of its, humor level, but I don't actually, I can't tell like a lengthy, I am terrible. I can't remember jokes. It's not a thing. It's not a thing that I can do.
I just thought it was on so many levels, It's like we've been toyed with. Yeah. We were toys.
Oh, yeah.
In this whole scheme. And it kind of just fit
completely.
all the imagery for myself of, And then
it's true.
Even going to Toys R Us, that whole thing, and then they collapsed.
Yeah, well, I mean...
And I was almost sad. It's kind of like that loss of that... idea that you just achieve this thing in life and now you can go buy toys and have fun with the family and life is good, right?
Yeah, well, that's what they wanted you to think. I mean, there is...
Go get some pool noodles
there
and,
is some truth to that.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's, like... It's hard because... so think about it. So that giant toy distributor at some point paved over some little people. Because you know that there were like
Well,
toy makers, right, that specialized in one kind of toy, and then all of a sudden, and like, or a few toys in their store in the local neighborhood or whatever, and then all of a sudden, like, you have something like Toys R Us that comes in, and
yep.
I don't know. It's just everybody's constantly doing that. Though it's like,
And you
rolling.
don't think that thing all the way through, right? You don't think about that piece of plastic that your kid wanted or that you thought was cool for a minute.
No, I don't think
was
in the
made by who made that?
Right.
Who made that, and where were they, and what were they doing, and what does that feed, and what are we feeding, and what are we like spending our time, energy, money on, and what is that getting us? You know?
Yeah.
The plastic toys. There's no end.
The road
the plastic
to the plastic pavement is endless. Well, I mean, look at the ocean. The ocean is like plastic pavement.
It's terrifying that. Oh God.
I mean, I've just the amount of garbage that we created. I mean, and then we pay over more places, and then where do we put all our trash? Like, it's just, I don't know. It's insane. I saw something recently that I found kind of fascinating. So I've been saying literally for so long, like I don't even know how long, at least as long as I've been with my husband, which we just celebrated 14 years together.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
No,
6
nice.
years, 6 years married.
14 years.
Yeah. So,
That's awesome.
yeah, it's pretty cool. He's a good dude. I love him. My man candy is quite lovely. Okay, got distracted. What was I saying there?
We're just excited about man candy over here.
Oh my gosh.
It was plastic in the ocean.
Plastic,
is apparently, yeah.
Oh, so I've been telling
there was
him
the
for
company that
years.
was like taking out, making the bracelets or whatever.
Well, so there's that. There's people who are reusing the plastic, but what I've always, the solution is not necessarily just to clean up the oceans. It's like we have to stop producing the plastic. And so I keep like thinking like, why don't we have more places that don't do like you have like a glass bottle that you reuse for shampoo or for your dish soap, and you just have them labeled and you just pay per ounce, kind of like you do with like bulk spices or whatever. Like, and so then I've actually seen recently there are stores that are starting to do that. Plus, there's also like some of the subscription box stores are doing some stuff like that. But yeah, I've been like saying that forever, and like I'm like I'm just me. I can't start that company. But come on, people. I don't know. I wish we could figure out easier ways to reuse stuff. I don't know.
I think we're going to get there with a lot of that, but there's a certain amount of it that's unavoidable, and so many traditions tied to
certain things.
Yes.
Yeah, it's true. Well, I mean, there's lots of. Like take something like a hula hoop. That's plastic.
Yeah.
That's a childhood tradition.
Yeah.
Through and through. Also, I guess I didn't realize. I just saw a program. Apparently, I can't believe I'm gonna tell anyone this, but I watched a Facebook TV show that was featuring Cardi B.
Wait a minute. There's Facebook TV shows?
Apparently.
I missed it.
So it featured Cardi B, and yes, that's the part that can't believe I'm admitting. But I couldn't help myself because she and this chick like went to a gymnastics studio, and they did a beginner's class, but it was for the rhythmic gymnastics where they use the ribbon, they use a ball, they use two like sticks. I don't know what they call them. I don't know.
Baton?
Yeah, the batons. I think they call them batons. Yes. Thank you. I was like having a moment. I'm like, And what's the fourth one? Oh, the hoop. So they use the hula hoop.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I'm like, most people I don't think are using like a metal hula hoop. Like, I don't think I've ever used a metal hula hoop. Have you? Like, it's always been plastic. Like, that's
but it doesn't have to be plastic.
It doesn't have to be, but like, I've never seen one that isn't. Have you? So that's why I'm saying, like, it's crazy. So you were talking about traditions. Some are hard to break. That's a weird one. Surely a hula hoop is, but like, you know, it's an Olympic sport. They're using a plastic one, I'm sure. Like I don't know. It's weird. Like, sometimes the parking lot in this case being the plastic. Like,
okay, so
sometimes we don't know. Sometimes we don't know any other way. So we just need to start talking about weird stuff like hula hoops, I guess.
So that's the thing. Like, you start going down these paths, and you think like you're gonna make some big difference because you think differently in the world, and you are. But you know what? Your difference is gonna be small, but it's big. Small is big. You have to realize. And like, when you get one tomato from your neighbor and you don't buy it from the store, you're taking one tomato away from like the machine, right?
Yes.
You're taking...
Right. And so you don't feed it that tiny little bit, and like, if you're only feeding it 0.001% of its diet, but if you and 100 other people do it, then it's 0.1. I hope I did that math right. I suck at math, so anybody who wants to tell me that my numbers are wrong, they probably are. But I think you get the point.
Yeah.
So
it's it's tough because you do end up feeling pretty powerless against the machine. It stamps it out, and you're stuck with it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No kidding. It's pretty strong. It's it has a mighty footprint. It's like, I don't. So I am always very interested in Bible prophecy, and one of the things that the Bible talks about is that, as in the days of Noah, when supposedly there were giants, so shall be the coming of the Son of Man, aka Jesus or Yeshua or whatever anybody wants to call him. So when he comes, the second coming essentially, when he comes again, apparently there will be giants, because there were giants in the days of Noah, and things that were going on. So also, like, very, like, lots of debauchery, like, just bad things were happening in the days of Noah. And that's why only like a certain part of them were saved, because it was their DNA that was pure. It wasn't because like there was a bunch of like chimeras, is that how you pronounce it? The like half human, half beast, like they were there was lots of mixing, supposedly from the fallen angels. They were mixing their fallen DNA, their angel DNA, with humans and creating giants. So anyways, where
did the chimeras come in, though?
So well, they were doing.
Was that just happening anyway before?
They were doing a lot of things. Like the chimera blood, like it may not have even been full on. Like you might have looked at anybody around you, and it could have been just that their DNA was manipulated somehow on a very minuscule level. So it doesn't. There's like so there's a lot of like different studies on that. So I'm not an expert by any means with any of these topics. It's just my general knowledge I've collected over time. But anyway, so supposedly there were giants and there was abominations, aka chimeras, or other DNA manipulations, things like that, going on in Noah's time. And that's why only he and his family were saved, because they had not had any of the abominations or the manipulations or whatever of their DNA. Their DNA was pure. And it was only a few of them. So if you can consider the same thing would be going on in our time, that's really limiting, potentially, for a lot of people. But the magnitude of that aside, if there are giants and abominations that would be happening in our time, assuming theoretically that we are in the end times, right, when potentially the Son of Man will return.
So we're all right because there aren't giants right now?
Well, what I was going to say is I think the giants are the companies. I think it's actually more of an allegorical situation when it comes to this, because if you think about it, like someone like Mark Zuckerberg, who he is essentially a giant because he is the the leader of this absolutely monstrous literally a monster, a giant, right? This giant entity, and it has the power to, you know, to make decisions basically, like, for people, like it
sure does.
I mean, you know,
Apparently.
but it also, and it has this immense power, you know, just in general.
Yeah, but we also are complicit in feeding that so much. That's what I mean about any way to take that power away. And I think there's a lot of ways you can make your own products. And I mean, going even further than trying to like reuse, you can make your own products.
Yes. In fact, Jenny is an absolute pro, and I think she needs to start selling this. Oh my gosh. I actually, so you don't know this yet because I haven't told you. So she had mentioned, you know, I was talking about how I went up north. I'm sorry. It's the weirdest thing. It's great. But anyways, so Jenny had made this homemade scrub for me, and so if I'm not mistaken, it's brown sugar and like coconut oil
And a little vanilla.
And
I've been meaning to like
it's her
really
special
invest
mix.
And put like vitamin E in it or something like that, you know.
Well, whatever you do, it's only going to make
yet.
it more delicious because
you can basically eat it.
Oh my God, it's so amazing. I used it on my vacation. So I went to a wedding and during part of my vacation, but the rest of my vacation was not wedding related. But I used it that day for just like my skin just to get all nice and soft, and oh my gosh, like it was amazing. And it smells so good. Oh, it's fabulous. But anyways, the point is,
I put extra vanilla in for you.
It's because I'm extra vanilla-y. Sweet as vanilla cream. Moving right along. But yeah, no, it was seriously amazing, and she's right that you can make your own products, and they literally, I told her, and like this is just true for how I operate. I don't give compliments unless I mean them. And I told her it's one of the best beauty products I have literally ever used. And it's just so, like, it makes me so happy. Like, I need you to make it for me forever, and I need to pay you because I can't imagine how much that costs.
No.
To put that together.
I'll just make.
But you know what's great is that I have a
girlfriends.
container that I can bring back to you that you can refill for me.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to have more containers.
I'm actually missing lids. I don't know how that happened. But I buy a whole bunch of them each year for Christmas, and every woman that I know gets one, and whether they like it or not, that's my gift, because I was like,
it's perfect.
I'm so sick of Christmas being purchasing, like, and I realize I'm purchasing because I'm purchasing the brown sugar and the whatever. But I want it to be not just something I went to a store and took off a shelf. Like, it's something that I made for you. I thought about you while I made it. It has like my goodwill in it and my, love for you, and that whole thing of like putting the intention in a product as well. Sure. I used to actually do it. I used to do it by hand, and it took me many nights before Christmas. Like, it would be like 2 weeks before Christmas, and I would be like in the living room just stirring with a fork for hours, and my arm would be sore, and I could only do so much each night. And then Bill bought me a really nice KitchenAid mixer, and now I'm like, oh my God, done.
Yeah, right. You're
so
like,
awesome.
This is like a different world.
Yeah.
Oh
so
my
now
gosh.
I
can't imagine hand mixing that.
Oh, it's so easy now. I have no issue making it for my girlfriends. There's a few girlfriends that I like keep in stock with this whenever I make it. I just make sure I have an extra one, and whoever is coming by can have it.
Yum. Well, wow.
Yeah.
It's
the only warning I gave you. Right, you remember my warning, right?
Oh yeah, and I made sure when I did it, I did it more of a full body. The first time I used it, actually, I just did for my hands and my my arms, just like by my wrists or whatever. And that I did in like my kitchen sink, and so that was easier to clean out.
Yeah.
But then the last time I used it in in a shower, so I had to
Yeah.
make sure, because the coconut oil does get a little slippery, so
Yeah,
I did
I'm
make
like-
sure to like wash down.
I think I almost killed Bill one time.
Yeah, I'm glad you gave me the warning. That was, but you know, it was.
I have gotten report. I try to give warnings to everybody I give it to.
Still wasn't that
You
bad.
can
to,
slip
like,
and die
Yeah.
if you.
Yes, you definitely need to be careful with
Yeah,
how
yeah.
you use it, especially if you
No,
go
but just
into the
making
shower.
your own products, you know, and
It's amazing.
and yeah, I'm just, you know, part of your song, "Glorious Day," because now I've listened to it 7,000 times. By the way, says, is it time? Now I'm not going to remember the lyrics exactly, but time to check out or checking out or like just
Time to leave the game.
leave the game. It's like I just feel like it's just time to leave the game.
Well, and speaking of which,
In
video
so many
games,
ways. Yes.
you were telling me earlier that you used to play.
Hours on end.
Yeah.
Every night. Before I had children, like I had bands that were coming in and out and they would come up and do music and go out and then I'd hang out with them and stuff, but like hours on end and on the weekends and during the week in the evening, I played video games a ton.
Yeah.
I loved video games. Played video games all growing up. You know, I grew up with one of my very first like memorable big Christmas gifts was the NES system, right? The
Yes.
N64
Been
8-bit.
been that kid.
You know, and I had to share the very first Game Boy
Oh yeah.
green screen with my brother.
I don't know that
You
we
know?
ever had. One of my best friends growing up had a Game Boy, and she and I would like. Actually, we shared it really well. We never had issues. Like we would just. I don't know, but my brothers and I don't think we ever actually had a Game Boy. I don't remember. Maybe we did. If we did, we just. I don't know. I don't recall if we had one of those, but we definitely. I mean, the original NES. Oh my gosh.
We used to drink, you know, like soda all night and stay up and
Eat crappy microwave popcorn. Larg.
Totino's pizza rolls.
That's so funny. Wow. One of my favorite combos, and probably still is, even though I tried to not eat them because I know how like processed they are, is I love to eat like Cheez-Its, and then I like to have like grapes.
That's a weird combo.
It's the kind of, well, yeah.
You say that like it's normal.
I was gonna say it's the sweet and salty combo.
That's a weird combo. I really have never heard of that. I have heard of a lot of combos, and I even dip
It's a weird one, I know.
potato chips and cottage cheese.
I think I've seen something like that before.
I salt watermelon. Those are both from my dad.
You do, what did you say?
I salt watermelon.
Oh, you salt watermelon. Okay, yeah, I think I've heard of that too. It just brings out more flavor, usually just salt in general. So it's not that weird. I don't know.
So video games. So I can't play them anymore. Like it's just
Yeah.
ruined. I bought a video game that was like $50. I thought would be really cool, and like I literally have not
You haven't touched it once, have you? Or like maybe you pulled it out once.
put it in once because I was like guilty about buying it.
Yeah, you're
like
I should probably put this in now.
And I don't know. I'm wrecked now. I'm like, I'm not learning something. I'm not spending my time doing something important. I'm not moving myself forward in any direction. I'm wasting my freaking time. What is this?
Yeah.
And
actually, one of the
I think
best
there's
things...
a place for that. I got to
Sure.
do it sometimes, but
Of course.
it's just I used to have that. It was like a hole I could fill forever, and now it's not. It's only a like very short passing thing, and I got to move on. I got to do something different.
I hear you. So I actually went to school for cosmetology. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's hair, makeup, or skincare, and nail care. And but it's weird because one of the things they talk about is that you become an underpaid, psychologist, which is totally totally true.
Oh yeah.
And so one of the things that they talk to you, they're like, I'm sure you didn't think you were going to get like a little like mini counseling session, but we want to tell you this because it's really important. And they always talk about how one of the best things you can do for yourself, especially if you are going to be a stylist or work in that industry in any capacity, is to turn off the news. And I guess especially like the mainstream news. I actually found that fascinating because
They told you that?
absolutely, that was part of our.
That should be in every education.
I know, it's great. Because they were like all the if you
Yeah.
you know they were like the fact is if you go turn on the news tonight, all you're going to see is 90+% negative information and maybe a filler, balloon, or that's what I'm going to call it right now. It's the happy balloon that rises at the end of the show, right? So there's maybe a quick little balloon at the end, and but yet you just experienced all that trauma for a half an hour or an hour or whatever, or maybe you watch back-to-back news programs, so it's a few hours that you're deep now, and so you've experienced tons and tons of trauma, and you've gotten literally like a minute and a half, like 3 different balloons worth of,
Christie's science project, who brought light to like some sort of something in the community, and now there is a parade on Sunday for
Right.
A horse or something. I don't know, whatever.
Precisely. And that's just
It's a
it.
feel-good story.
Yeah, so they give you this little balloon, but the rest of it, they just parking lotted your whole freaking brain for like I said, 30 minutes or an hour or however long you've had. Some people literally just keep like a news station, because there didn't used to be news stations. It was only news broadcasts, but now there's news stations, right? So people just literally leave a news station, whether
Playing
it's radio
in the background,
or YouTube or TV, whatever the heck.
You go to the DMV, it's just playing news.
Of course, the whole entire time. So think about it, and how many balloons do you get during those broadcasts? Most of it's probably zero.
Yeah.
Because it's not like those are just like on loop information. Like so, and how much of that information is good? No, none of it. Obviously, we all know that. Yeah. So yeah, they just slap a parking lot over your head, or over your brain, all everywhere you go.
I did tell Mickey that the next time that I see you, or that he sees you, he'll probably be getting a haircut. And he goes, meow.
That's awesome. I've actually been seeing in a lot of my groups, because, let's just say I enjoy hair design as a hobby at this point. And so...
What do you mean?
Well, so licensing is weird. I actually went through all of my licensing exams, but never paid for a license on purpose, because after I graduated, my mom became ill and she passed away. So I decided that I didn't really want to, I don't know if we talked about this last time, but I didn't really want to be in the salon environment. So I didn't even bother getting my license at that point. So, like I said, I've always practiced it as a hobby.
I see.
But it's something that I really do enjoy doing.
And I appreciate your craft.
Thank
You really helped my kiddo out. He was having problems.
It's just art to me, just like anything else, whether it's the music that I compose, or when I make dinner. I just always am... Because I'm sick and tired of living in a world of parking lots, so I try and live in a world of art constantly, whatever that means. And it's having thoughtful conversations. That to me is like a form of art. This conversation is a piece of art, especially because this is recorded, so it really is a piece of art, And so hopefully these little pieces of art that I give of myself all day, whether it's just to myself or to one other person or my house, or, when I'm on stage and, I've played for several thousand people. So whatever it is that I'm doing, I'm just always trying to be like the weed that's growing up between the cracks in the parking lots, because there's too many freaking parking lots.
Hey, you have a show tomorrow?
I do.
Kind of cool. Can we talk about that?
Sure.
No. You want me to cut that out? I can cut it out because we have to cut out the whole thing.
Well, yes, I do.
Right
I do have a show tomorrow.
Anyway, so I'm thinking this is what I wanted to talk about. So the voice is I now kind of understand a lot more about the power of your own voice, and it's a lot of the reason that I started this, right?
Yes.
And it's wild to me to be recording it and to have other people listen. I kind of I'm not the person to put myself out there, but I'm also the person to when I see that there is a void, I sometimes run to fill it.
Sure. Immediately.
So I would love, like I said, for Minnesota's community to grow, and for me not to be trying to hold up, to have a larger group, and I'm working on that.
I feel like you're tired of like holding the flag by yourself, like,
it's
and
really
like waving
awesome
it and being
have
like,
you here.
I'm still here.
I've had some people come and wait, and it's really awesome. It's been so impactful. But here's what I was going to say, the whole voice thing. So that's one thing, to kind of put it out there and to have other people listen to it and to have it accessible for anybody, anywhere, anytime. It's kind of strange. But for you as a performer, you're on stage and you're putting that voice like through equipment that is magnifying it or making it fill the room in a way that like goes through people's bodies.
Yes, that's wow. I don't know if anyone's actually said it to me that way, but yes, that is what's happening. That makes
awesome.
It sound way more fabulous than I.
It's pretty cool. I've always loved musicians.
I like that.
I've always enjoyed going to local shows, and I've always enjoyed people's personal songs that they've written. I like when people do covers, but my personal favorite is when somebody has a song that they wrote.
Yeah.
That makes me so happy.
I enjoy writing music for sure. I love actually, the one thing that's really great about not working with other musicians right now is being able to create really anything that I want. So once I stopped actually, because I used to play full time with the musicians, like that was pretty much all I did, and we did originals and we did covers. So I had to make a living, and unfortunately the covers pay the bills, but it's great.
No,
because
they do. I know other musicians,
but I still always played my originals because to me it's important that because I'm still an artist and I'm still and I do actually. I mean, I think I write interesting originals, so there's a lot that especially pertain to a certain crowd, and like and I like to write funny ones, which I don't have any of those at the moment.
I think that works for the more standard crowd to like weave it in.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? For me personally, I love to go see a band that like everything I hear is something new. That's awesome to me. Like that's fun and interesting, and it makes my mind go, cool places, and I like it. And I think for other people, it's too much. It's for the general crowd. It's like you have to like. I like that idea of trying to sprinkle it in or whatever. But I mean, most it's like the only way to do it.
I mean, I think most people do enjoy it. It's just one of the things I've learned from doing it for this song is not as many people have the focus like on new creations that you potentially that you do. Right, so they can allow themselves, like, let's just say every 5 songs, the 6th song I throw in is an original, right? And if I'm playing 40 songs in a night, that's a decent amount of original material that I'm getting out there. And what's good is that for those crowds, they might actually remember a few of them when they're spread out like that. Right. And also for me, one of the things that I try and do is I also try and make the covers that I'm doing interesting. And I've always done that, whether it's been solo or with, other musicians. I try and make them sound unique. So, like one of my duet partners and I, excuse me, we do Toxic by Britney Spears.
Yeah.
and Girl Crush by Little Big Town, and we take those two songs and we like. So he plays an oil can guitar that he and his business partner actually make. They're really, really incredible instruments, but they just have this great way of picking up a lot of sound, like, and it makes a very full sound. So it's the perfect backdrop for us to do kind of like more jazzy, bluesy.
That sounds awesome.
Flavor, and we do like, I'm calling it acoustic, but it's like totally stripped down. It's just his guitar and my voice. And so when we do these songs, like, you know, it's still like a new creation. And when one, like for Toxic, for example, it doesn't really sound, honestly, in a way, it doesn't sound anything like the original song by Britney Spears. It's totally different. And when people finally recognize what it is, they're like, oh my God, this is Britney Spears. And you actually, I've heard so many people just literally blurt that out loud.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. You're like, uh-huh. Or, you know, I'm pretty good at lip reading, so if you ever come to my shows, be careful with what you say. But I'm just saying, people, I'm giving you fair warning.
You've discovered some secrets.
Oh, I learned some things that people probably, like some people, mostly it's really nice. Like, some people will say, like, oh, you know, it's usually like a sweet compliment that they'll be talking about me for some reason or another, do it, whatever, or like, and so, you know, it's like, oh, you know, I love, like, they'll say something like, oh, I love all the faces she makes, because I'm very expressive.
Yes, you are.
You know, so it's like stuff like that,
That's fun.
Or they'll be like, oh, I love this song. I love her version of it. Like, I can see things like that, you know. I also have, you know, I unfortunately see other things too. So like people get in fights and I like read their lips. I'm like, oh, that was unpleasant. Like, oh God. Woo, you know, they don't want that, you know. And so there's somebody just got parking lotted by their significant other. That was, you know, I don't like watching those moments, but yeah, it's a pretty cool life. And because I do so much solo, both recording and performing, I can do whatever I want. So I can do, you know, country or rock or blues or funk, or even I can experiment with like electronic flavors. So I think
I like how diverse your stuff is. That's great.
Thank you.
So we're going to play one of your songs. On the note of being a counselor and whatnot, David Leonard has his website up, I believe, and now I think I can add that link.
Excellent.
So I'll put that in the show notes.
That's awesome.
If anybody in the community, it's kind of nice to know somebody who is a truther and also someone who can help you and your family with those kind of things. So
that's awesome.
Neat resource. And
amazing resource.
Yes. Set up your song. We talked about video games.
Yes. So I think it was serendipitous because I had the intuition to choose this as the first song, and it is called Video Games, and it's actually on a release that my very first electronic release. I think it's 6 songs. I don't know. I can't remember honestly how many are on there, but it's just an EP length, and this song. So each of the songs, like I like to create like a personality, right? So this song called Video Games, you'll hear in the music that it sounds like it comes from a video game. Like it's the noise, it's the robotic noises and the just more of that futuristic vibe. So yeah,
you can get lost in there.
Yeah,
should we get lost in there.
You can get lost.
All right. thank you for providing music for our show. That's very generous of you.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. I like being able to share a little bit of a different side of my musical personality during this show than we did last time. So
it's diverse. The 2 songs already were diverse, and now this one's kind of surprising me too. I have to be honest, I haven't like gone through and listened to the whole full catalog or anything. I got kind of stuck on your 2 songs.
I understand how that goes. Well, it's like, think about when you used to buy an album when you were young. Like, I mean, plenty of people would hardcore, smash the play button repeatedly for like 2 songs, and like, it's an album of 10 or 15 songs and you only ever hear 2 of them, unless you're one of those people who really delves. That's hard. I don't know, it's hard to do. Like, anytime I find a new artist, I usually will like scan their work, but
right, I didn't go
up,
through and like listen to every single, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, it feels like that takes like the energy and time, and I'm gonna do it. You're in your brain, you're like, I'm gonna get to look at every one of these, but it just didn't happen yet. But
think about how many artists there are.
But in the car, so I've already got your 2 songs from the episode, and I have them emailed, so I can just hit play on the song, and it's just the song.
Yes.
I'm so privileged. You got to get that released. But the kids refer to it as, the children, the boys, refer to it as Swanny song and second song.
I love that. So they're getting their own. See, one of the things we had talked about actually last time was that as an artist, like, once I release something in any capacity, it's basically no longer mine. And so it's actually cool to hear that your boys have titled them their own.
Yeah, their own title.
Right? And because to that is now it's not my content anymore, it's their content.
Yeah.
It is, and because it's the way it's like, if you think about like a painting, like an abstract painting, 100 people can see 100 different things on that painting. And it's the same thing with any song. Every single person experiences it in a different way, and some people might not connect at all, and like they might listen and be like, "This is garbage. What the hell is this song?" And that's fine. Like, I don't resent those people. That doesn't bother me at all. It's just because, so actually right now on the screen we have a little picture of a worm, and it makes me think a lot about also how with music, like I feel like every song sort of starts off as a worm and becomes that butterfly, and it's like, and then that butterfly flies away. Like a butterfly, you can't get a butterfly to like hang out with you. You know what I mean? It just doesn't
occasionally.
I mean,
just for briefly.
There are magical moments that happen, but moments.
They're magic.
Generally speaking, like.
There we go.
You don't just have like people just don't have.
Butterfly.
There you go. The butterfly is back.
There's a moment.
But the butterflies aren't like great. They don't make great pets, is what I'm saying, right? They're.
I actually read about that, about getting them.
Oh, really? That's cool.
And keeping them, and what you need. And they're
really?
like, oh yeah, just let them fly around your house. It's fine. They poop on everything, but it's cool. And you're like, wait, what? They poop on everything? Well, I mean, like, oh God, no, I don't want poop on everything.
Well, everything poops somewhere.
But they poop everywhere.
But yeah. So I mean, it's like butterflies aren't the greatest, but that's
outside they are.
As pets is what I mean. But and that's the thing is, like, I can't keep my song as a pet. Yeah. It's not mine anymore. It's someone else's. Like, it's like a butterfly that flies away and it just like lands on every random flower, and so maybe it lands on 100 flowers, and those 100 flowers are like, yeah, like this is my jam, right? And then it lands on like 100 more flowers, and they're like, ew, don't ever come back. Like, leave me alone. So, I don't know. But, we were talking a little bit about parking lots, and it's interesting because you were saying that you have the take that they're almost like a positive place because... Well,
in the metaphor that was originally in my mind when I took that picture.
Yes.
Brought up by Baldini because of... finding all these like-minded people, whether we're, on the same page or not, because we're not.
Right.
But we're we've come to a place together somehow. Like, we found each other in a weird spot.
Yeah.
And it's like we found this parking lot. Nobody's here, but we're here, and you're there. And what are we supposed to give to each other or do with the fact that we've come to this place? We felt alone. We felt isolated and misunderstood. And now we found a group of people that are like us. And we feel that we've kind of, I mean, I really hesitate to get on high horses. I don't like that because I feel like everybody has their own gift and everybody is a, like, divine being, right?
Absolutely.
But I feel like there's a certain group of people who have come to certain realizations where we're no longer tricked by the game. The game doesn't work on us anymore.
Right.
And now what?
Yeah, well, and I think, and so what's interesting is that, so when I suggested the title of Pave Paradise, your association was more of a gathering place, where for me,
I'm still gathering. I'm
right,
still finding.
Which is interesting. So for me, I was more thinking of it almost as like it's in relation to that song, which is one song that I want to say I probably refuse to ever play in public. So if you ever request that song, it's gonna cost you. I'm just saying.
$80 billion.
Yeah, the tip jar better be real full after that song. But I don't know, that song, it's just always, it's something about it just gets me. There's very few songs in the world that like I don't want to touch. That's one of them. So I'm sure now I'll get a request for it like tomorrow at my show. That'll be hilarious.
Yeah, all our pictures we take ourselves. So the beginning ones of the parking lot were this morning that I took, and now these ones are ones you've taken over time.
Yeah, so this is a series of the same. It's a series of the same pothole that I can't decide still if it looks like Africa or South America, the continent or the supposed continent.
Yeah.
But anyways, It's like the depression of it is the shape of one of those continents, so their supposed continents, and I've been walking the same streets for a long time, and I enjoy taking pictures of it because there's always something interesting going on depending on the season. You know, we here in Minnesota, it's icy and snowy and rainy and sunny and dry and wet. It's just a whole bunch of craziness. It's like the most insane weather all the time. But I love taking pictures of this particular depression in the road, in the parking lot that we drive on. But so that's my thing. Is like my association with the parking lot is like, or it was until we started having this conversation, kind of more the destruction of like the good stuff. But actually, you have helped me to think about it in a different way. I love that you have challenged me to think about it in terms of the gathering place, where, you know, it might be a parking lot, but you know what, if we all find a way here, then it actually has more power, even if it is, quote, just a parking lot. Well, because to me, it loses some kind of beauty when the nature's gone, but actually...
But then we took another leap, and we brought it to... it kind of combines both of ours, I believe.
Yeah.
So, like, YouTube is like a parking lot, right?
Sure.
So we all got here, and we realized that it's part of the machine. And
yes, right, exactly.
It's not part of nature. It's part of this construct, you know?
Right. So
that's enslaving us all.
Right.
But... we have used it as a vehicle,
right,
to find each other, and now
totally
we found each other in this, and I guess,
I mean, that's literally how you and I came together as friends.
Yeah,
which is still amazing. So I guess even more so, like, that parking lot ended up, you know, being a good thing. Actually, you know, the parking lot at the park that we share, there's two of them. There's one that is paved, but there's one that is still dirt. And so I don't know. Maybe we just need to vote for more dirt parking lots in the future. I don't know, you know.
What's funny is how our parking lots fall apart, you know. There's a few in town that I know, and when I say the larger metropolitan area, that are just not, it doesn't take many years of non-maintenance to completely fall apart.
Oh, totally. Well, especially because we have all the freezing and thawing because it's so cold here.
Making potholes and whatnot.
Yep, exactly. Making all the potholes, yeah. I think this was my favorite one. I caught this just the other day. It had rained and like the like outline was still just around the shape, but everything else was completely dry. It was pretty cool. I don't know. I like am fascinated by this by this piece of road, this parking lot that we drive on.
It's nice that you get out and walk often enough to be acquainted and familiar with the territory, you know.
But it is really intimate, and sometimes I wonder because I stop in front, you know, it's in front of the same house all the time. Like I hope they don't think I'm weird.
Taking a picture of the ground every time. Yes, you know, they think. Let me answer that for you. They think you're weird. Right. They are looking at you.
Right. I know you're right. And actually, they're not the. I mean, I'm sure it's all the other houses like they're out. I mean, with the eyes, you know.
Well, I drove to, so I dropped my boys off this morning, and normally I just drive straight home to start work again.
Okay, yeah.
And I was like, I have this wild hair about this picture I'm going to take, and I know a couple of parking lots I'm going to look at, but I was driven to this one.
Yeah.
And that's the one I used.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was, I'm sure there was at least 4 or 5 people able to see me out there, like standing,
right,
taking random various pictures of what appears to be an empty parking lot.
Right, and you're like, don't mind me, just here.
I've gotten braver about being, I've gotten braver about being the weird one. It's just going to be the case.
Well, that's part of the journey of like coming to truth is being the weird one sometimes.
Yeah, no, when I had that kind of flat earth theory thrown at me and really looked at it and started wondering and started looking and started thinking and started asking, I would get out at lunchtime or in the morning or in the evening, whenever it was, and I'm quite sure that people saw me looking up at the sky and looking at the moon and looking at the sun and looking at what looked like new kinds of clouds.
Oh yes, most of us know about the new kinds of clouds.
I'm sure I was one of the only ones with my head tilted up.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And everybody else is just.
Yep. Well, everyone else. So and that's like one of those places where I see the sort of negative aspect of the parking lot is where we've had nature, you know, our instincts paved over. So that's for like, it's hard for me because I feel like I always go back to that like negative aspect of it, and that's why I love so much that you don't see it that way, because like now I'm going to try and like rewire my thought process so that I can think about it being a gathering place instead of a source of negativity for me, you know, because I don't want it to feel like that, but you know, that's where I go. So I have to challenge myself to think of it differently.
I think I'm now like into the point where I've stuck my nose into enough places that I've had enough reason to throw negativity and suspect on almost everything.
Yeah, it's easy to.
And I'm kind of sick of it.
Yeah.
And I need to just spend some time personally focusing on what does work and how I can step forward in a meaningful way, because there's no more time. The time is just slipping through our fingers, and I don't have, that's what the thing about not being able to play video games anymore, you know? It's like once you wake up to a certain number of things, you can't sit still long enough anymore because you know, I mean, even if I'm working, I'm watching or listening to something because I feel like it's wasted time just hitting these buttons and clicking numbers and doing spreadsheets and sending emails. And unless I'm in a meeting or I'm presenting or doing something, I've got something else going on because my brain won't stop. Yeah. Now.
Well, you know, and so
I'm broken or fixed or whatever you want to look at it.
Well, I think our ultimate goal as humans is like to continuously, I don't know, become more efficient or better versions of ourselves, and whatever that means. And actually, that sort of was one of the theme of the other song that I wanted to share today, which is Being One. And that, like, the vibe of this song, I would say it was maybe written at least, so sometimes I like, these are not necessarily always personal stories, so a lot of times I just envision certain things. And in this case, like, I feel like I was envisioning while writing this song, like, two entities, like, whether it be people or like even animals, because they form really strong attachments. There's some of them really do. Or
when I started this podcast, I kept seeing two birds. Do you know that? And I saw two birds the other day.
Interesting.
This morning or yesterday. Yes, just recently again.
Yeah. So they have, actually, great. So part of one of my name's Swanny, or Swan. So swans actually form lifelong attachments, and they actually return to the same home each year to have babies. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
It's one of my favorite facts, actually. I probably in all of history, I love that fact. But it's not so much that it's specific to swans, although that does make me feel pretty excited. But there are many species that are like that return to the same place each year to have babies. Some with the same partner, and some they just go back and maybe they have different partners. But the ones that really fascinate me are the ones that keep the same partner year after year. And so, especially when their partner passes, they really mourn that. And so, because they've become that essence of one. So that unity, like, think of where they've traveled. They like migrate wherever they migrate. Who knows on this different than we were told structure. Who knows where they go? Somewhere different than here.
They migrate.
North
somewhere. And south, correct?
Yes, they're some direction. They fly away and stay there for a while.
South during the cold times, which also the intelligent people do as well, like Sam and Sarah.
Yeah, right.
And unlike us who stay here all year.
Like, well, yeah.
Slowly going crazy in the house.
Oh, when I wasn't raised around here either, so
we'll have
the extra
zany
cold
episodes.
Is like, woo, it's hard.
Yeah, it is.
It makes me crazy. It does.
I had a friend who came from Mexico, and he hated the cold. And he bought a jacket that if you, like, set it on the ground would stand up on its own. It was
because it's that thick and just like... Oh my gosh, that's hysterical. So you kind of feel like you need that around here, though. Yeah. I don't know. It's like going outside in the winter for a walk. Because, I go for a walk.
I look dumb, but you're also jealous.
Yeah, right. Seriously, like, so you're like, oh man, that looks warm. I bet I could.
I'm over here in my stylish, like, looking thin one, freezing my butt off.
Yeah, see, those, right.
That's not my game, no.
No. Every once in a while, like, maybe if you go out for a date, and then you're like, why did I do this? I should have just put my ugly ass, big old parka on, and
If anyone's ever seen Home for
Who
the Holidays, I
cares?
feel like that movie speaks to my soul, and the giant jacket that she wears. Have you not seen it?
I don't know.
If not, I'm going to force you to this winter.
Sure. I'm
going
with
to
you.
make you.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll have to watch that and do like a review.
I didn't know if you were going to say like watch it on and comment, or
Oh, I mean that well, I don't know if you can do that only because
you'll talk over it
yeah.
and you'll miss stuff.
Well, no, because the,
Not Mystery Science Theater 3000 style.
they'll take like they'll
Oh, you can't do
the
it. Yeah,
soundtrack
yeah.
you could get messed up for that.
I forget about like.
Stupid.
I'm assuming at some point I'm going to get off YouTube because I don't really censor myself. So when that happens, I'm hoping to come over. I know there's been some talk about like a group channel on Rockfin to have like different people come on and share time, but I don't know.
That's
we'll see.
cool. Everybody gets a slot.
Everybody gets a. I'll have to start looking at my options once they kick me to the curb.
Well, you know,
curb of the parking lot,
yeah,
and
right.
like
Here are
face plant me and then kick my like skull in or whatever they're gonna do.
There's the yuck part of the parking lot. That's,
I know. There's many bad sides of the parking lot.
But it's so amazing though because I really wasn't expecting to have that. Like,
I'm still excited to be here.
I me too. Well, because you know, and we like as we keep joking, we're the community of the community. We're the tiny little circle within the big circle. Here in our tiny little town of 1.7 square miles, I think it is something crazy. It's ridiculous. I still can't believe I just found that out recently. It is really, really tiny. And I've always joked with people that I live in a drive-through town. And like
kinda, yeah.
And now, like once I like actually looked at the map and like found out the genuine square footage, which is tiny. I'm not joking when I say that number. I literally realized we are like actually a drive-through town, and it kind of made me laugh. And so
there's your drive-through town.
Yeah, right. So the drive-through town provides me with some entertainment via, of course, the pothole in my neighborhood. And so this current picture that she has up was from today. And I thought I was hoping, oh my God, I was hoping so much that it would be in shadow because I figured that part of that yard, the neighborhood, I was like, maybe I'll catch it. And it just created this like perfect frame around it. So I didn't get it in shadow, but I did get some cool shadows from. I don't usually walk at this time of day, so that was fun to get a little bit of something different there. Yeah. So, anyways, so this song, you ready for it?
Yep.
It's been a great chat.
Yes, and again, you know, a lot of people in our community do struggle. I don't know anybody that is free from struggle, and David Leonard is a really good resource. I'm just going to stress that one more time. I'm going to put his website in the notes, and you know, he did an episode earlier. I'll tie that in there as well as the Baldini one too, just so you can get a feel for who he is if you are interested. Sometimes you just got to talk to somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So tell us about your song.
So, okay, so as I was mentioning before, this is like my thought process is just the coming together of two really like magnetic entities, and you know, whatever that means, maybe, but it's that this essence of like two becoming one, and however that, you know, whatever that means to you, because now that I'm sharing it, you know, it's whatever, it's however you feel it. So, yeah. Thanks for listening.